Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to radio station EXP. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman who goes by the name of Mr. Paul Caruso, on the dodgy subject of are there or are there not flying saucers, or UFOs. Please, Mr. Caruso, could you give us your regarded opinion on this nonsense about spaceships and even space people?
Thank you. As you all know, you just can't believe everything you see and hear, can you? Now, if you will excuse me, I must be on my way.
Well, here we go. I'm back doing the live. It's been a long time, guys. I missed doing the lives. I missed the comments. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Been way too long. The Big C is doing a rock star arrival. I hope he's all right. I haven't heard from him. So we're going to kind of do as the podcast people say. We're going to do some talking and business and see if things play out. If not, it's going to be you, me, and Paul Caruso. Man, I think it's been about 6 or 7 months since I've done this. And I don't know. I just last season was just such a nightmare. I know it was for you guys. But I just feel so good about the season. I'm so excited. And I want to get back to, I feel much more comfortable with the lives instead of having to memorize stuff and things like that, doing the film and the podcast. So I hope you guys are going to have a good time here tonight. We're going to chat about the Dolphins. Hopefully Big C shows up like Guns N' Roses or something at some point. So anyway, I want to give a thanks to Miller Hendricks for inspiring my new intro. Probably a little crazy, but I'm a little crazy. So I figure going to have some fun this season. This is going to be a fun season. I really believe that. I know that there's so much fear, trepidation. It's that we are like the beaten woman who's had 5 boyfriends. They all beat her and treated her like garbage. And the 6'1" shows up and he's saying, I'm different, baby. So, but I do feel that. Phantom Shadow, man. Dude, it's been so long. Gosh, how you doing? First time I caught you live. Wish I could stay a while. Love your content. No worries, man. I hope you're well. I've been talking to you for years, man. No sweat, dude. It's late at night. I don't know. I just I throw this thing out here and try to get it going. To me, that's the most important thing is just being that feeling like when I was a kid or when I was in my 20s before I got married, going to the bar and talking to people live, man. So I hope you're doing good, brother. Stay as long as you can. I'm going to be doing this a lot now. I just like it better. I do. I feel more relaxed. So I don't know, guys, anyone out there, is anybody in? Is anybody in? What are you guys feeling about the season? I really want to put aside the hopium. There's so much hopium. There's so much reasons for hope. And we're in the evaluation stage. But you know me, I've been kind of like the Grinch bad guy for years saying Dolphins aren't doing it. They're not ready. They're not there. They're missing things. And I kind of been saying that midway through 2021 to now. And everything I've studied over the last few years, all the information, everything that's at the core of my understanding of football is backed by what Sullivan and Hafley are doing, saying we got to see it put into the X's and O's and on the field and all that. But guys, everything about this cycle, offense and defense, the sweet spots, unbelievably, Sullivan and Hafley are doing. I feel like I'm in a twilight zone. I feel like, I'm like in a dream where I've created this GM and coach, and it's not real. So I'm going to kind of break it down, get into why and hopefully Big C, where are you? Big C. I'm going to send out my EXP station radio signals to get him here. Why I think, and there's a lot. I've done a lot of podcasts over this off season, and dude, man, yeah, like look, I can't explain it, dude. I'm an anachronism. I grew up old school, somebody shows you respect, they show you time, they show you some value of human interaction, you've got to appreciate it. Of course, I remember you, man. You kidding me? We've had many conversations in the comments section. I might be a little bit though, since we have. But yeah, man, I remember you, of course. Sometimes I can be defensive. We all can be defensive. That's what that's what it's all about, dude. We get all crazy. I don't care about that, but yeah, I think I don't remember specifically. I don't know. I just have good memories of you, but I've been hitting the head a lot, so I don't remember too many things too much, especially names, but I remember yours. For some reason, I remember my Shadowfax, Gandalf's horse from the Lord of the Rings. I think that's why it always stuck, man. I love Lord of the Rings. Been reading it since I'm like 9, 10, watching the cartoons in the 70s. But yeah, man, don't sweat it, man. For every interaction I've had with you, I remember, even if disagreement's fine, even defensive, it's just as long as you're not calling me a stupid monkey. I might be, but all good, brother. All good, man. You're always welcome here, man. Always appreciate it. So if I'm German and I got Celtic in me too, so I'm a cross between overly analytical, and then I also have flights of fancy. So I have a deep passion, and so I always have to keep that on track. But I do have that Germanic way about me of trying to be logical. And so I want to start off my little dissertation until Big C gets here. Big C! It's all on the fly. So, okay. So a major shift happened a few years ago. We moved from fun ball. If you've watched me for a while, I've talked about how fun ball, finesse football, it's not flying, it's dying. And it slowly started to die. But Brett Coleman, who's, he's big time. I'm like the flea on the back of his keister. He put together something that really solidified this thesis that I'm going to give you. And it's fact-based. Now, ultimately, we got to see how it plays out. But it was based on special teams, something that a snob like me when it comes to football never considered. And maybe a lot of you haven't either. Kickoffs. The new kickoff rule, it's not fun like it used to be, but it changed the game dramatically. I did a podcast a while back covering his podcast. So this information I'm going to give you is from him. And then I extrapolated it from there. But the kickoff was about 22 yards on average. Now we're about 30.8 starting point. That's a big piece. That's a whole first down difference, just about a yard off. And his numbers were tremendous. He talked about in your first 3 drives, if you pick up one chunk play, the chances of you scoring a field goal or a touchdown, but points, is 60-something%, low 60s. And one chunk play in the first 6 plays was 80% chance to put points on. And this is got to be the framework with how I would like you to consider how this Dolphins team won't be cellar dwellers. And we're already getting, so when you're starting 10 yards, if you go 3 and out, which is the cardinal sin now is 3 and outs on a kickoff, because when you get that 10 yards and you kick it off, they're in the position to do the same thing with one chunk play. But you're put in a position now where the kick is kind of sort of in a no man's land from a punt perspective. You're not getting the same value if you go 3 and out like the 22, 23. So the 31, let's say, yard line is where you begin. And he went on to talk about the run game, something I've been talking about for a long time and am voraciously talking about and espousing, is so critical. And he went to show numbers that if you just get 4 yards on your first down run. And I want to stop there. So 4 yards on your first down run is the metric, because if you get 4 yards, that second down play becomes second down and 6. And what happens is DCs, OCs, most callers for the majority of the game are operating out of odds. I have this group of players. The down says this, the situation says this, the numbers, the analytics say I'm calling this. And so if you could just pick up 4 yards on your first down run, the DCs are 60% chance to call middle field closed. Now, what that means is you got to cover high, and then you got guys coming up the line of scrimmage. And when that happens, that exposes the deeps and the peripheral. Now, we haven't been able to attack. I like Tua. I think Tua's going to do well in Atlanta. But clearly he couldn't hit the outs, not the way Willis can. Well, he can be accurate and a lot of stuff. But when you bring that defense up, the thing that gets exposed is play action pass. And so the play action pass on second down, rushing attempts, and then run defense, but I'm not going to focus on that, just the offensive side. That's how teams are winning. And Sullivan and Hafley, they set this thing up to embrace that aspect of the game. So something simple, I was surprised at Proctor, but what does Proctor do? How does that Proctor, Brewer, Paul, and Kasmarek set that first down run for 4 yards? It sets it up very, very well. And Willis, with his play action game, I talked about this last night on Steve Malloy's channel. Willis is perfect for it because you've got to respect his movement skills. You've got to respect his boot skills. You've got to respect the deep outs. And so if the Dolphins are committed to the run, which I believe they're going to be, I got a podcast coming out, and I showed how I might be rambling a little bit here, though. I don't know. But anyway, point being is play action drives this league on second down, not first down, not even third down, although third down is extremely critical, but it doesn't come into play like the consistency of second down. But Sullivan has the commitment, like the Packers, to embrace this cycle on offense. And we have the potential to raise the floor by putting points on, playing a defense that should be able to, in some level, limit opposing offenses. Hey, there he is. What's going on, brother? I'm kind of rambling over here. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. Big C is gone, man. I hope he's all right. I'm trying to do my thing over here. I have to ramble, make sure I'm not rambling. So we got to get you on, man, is what we got to do. So, guys, it's very easy to look at this team and say, hey, the talent isn't this. But a lot of people aren't really focused on the macro ideas of what the cycle is. And the cycle is about being consistent. It's about running this football, not going 3 and out, getting that second down play action. And I know a lot of people are concerned about the receivers or lack thereof. I don't know, man. I'm a little flustered over here, but thank you. I appreciate that. I know a lot of people are concerned about the receiving group, and yeah, they should. Although, to be fair, we got to see what Douglas does. We got to see when Bell comes back. We got to see how Tolbert does. But the majority of the impact from the passing game is no longer your straight drop back passes. You've got to be able to do it to some semblance. It's the second down play action that's generated off the rush attempts. And the beauty of where we're at and why I feel confident that we're not going to win 1 to 4 games is because if you look, the last couple of years, we had loads of talent. We had unbelievable talent, high peak talent, but there's big voids, you know. We were ranked as one of the most talented teams. We didn't play like the most talented teams. Donovan McCulley, you heard it here first. Who is that? Is he on our team? I don't know. Is he a new name? I might have seen him. Tell me about him, man. Tell me about him. Get me on point with that. Heard it here first. Is he he's a safety? I can't remember. I'm bad with them names, man, especially new names. So the point being is Michigan wideout. Oh, he's next year's draft or this year's draft. We got him. Well, no, we don't got him. He's not on the team. You talk about next year's draft, right? The 2027. I'm not a college guy. I was a college boy, but I'm not a college guy, if you know what I mean. So I know that a lot of people have fixated. Oh, UDFA? Let me check him out. Donovan McCulley. You heard it here first. Aqua, I'm going to take you. I got Monkey, who's on my channel, dude. He called. Oh, yeah, look at that. Monkey called Jacob Rodriguez. Yeah, 6'4", 203, UDFA, man. I'm going to mark that, dude. I'm going to give you a special highlight podcast if it turns out to be true. I hope you're right. Well, that's the thing, too, guys. Receivers are in mercurial positions. Very difficult to break in. Monkey, hey, you are, man. I got to get my bust ready for Jacob Rodriguez. Dude, you called it, man. That was impressive. I like that. I got an expert, man, in my comments. I'm just going to cover you verbatim next to you and sound smart. You called it. Now I got Aqua over here of McCulley. So I don't know. I don't know about McCulley. I haven't watched him. What do you think about him, Monkey? Anyway, back to as you type in there, guys, the league is not just about talent. It's a game of horses, but how do you ride those horses? We've had guys here for years. Monkey says, watch out for Chase Robinson. There's a lot of guys to watch out for. I don't know. I don't watch. I'm going to watch college this year, though. I've sworn. I haven't watched college in 10 years. But I want to be as ace as I can be on the draft next year, so I'm watching it. But we've had talented players that just were never put in the proper position. And so I do think we're going to have a lot of rookie blues. There's a lot of growth here. There's going to be a lot of hiccups. But this is a season about the floor. And you can control how many rushing attempts you have. You can control how you set up for that second down. You can control, so Seattle and Baltimore, as an example, they ran 70% on second down. Very predictable. But they were also number one and number two in play action EPA on second down. And so that predictability created a setting for the OCs to take advantage of that predictability and get key passes. That's controllable by Slowick. I am a little concerned about Slowick. We got to see. There's things with his time with the Texans that I'm not very super high about, but he's committed to the run. Sullivan's committed to run, and Hafley's committed to run. And that's 1/3 of the formula. Tape looks, I would go tape looks sick. He didn't get a lot of hype because he was a QB and then played 1 year at wide receiver. He might be a developmental guy. It's going to be tough, man. Receiver is one of those positions that it's very hard to crack into year one. Then the mission. Well, he might be a year two. Maybe he is this year. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe next year. Let's see. He was given a higher amount of guaranteed money. That's a good sign. Although we gave that running back who just terrible, man. What was that running back's name? He took the money and then he left, and now his son picked a gun up under his pillow and shot himself, 2-year-old. We gave him a lot of money. We also gave that DT a couple of years ago, but that's a good sign. They believe in him. That means something. I feel terrible for that running back, man. I can't remember his name. College wide receivers, State Wyatt, Young, and Charles Beckett. I don't know. You might as well be talking Greek to me, dude. I got to get into this college stuff. So the controllable aspects are there. The philosophical aspects are there. The offensive line, you might know what I talk about it a lot, is there. This offensive line is set up to be better, I think, than we've seen in years. Moss, yeah. I was pissed at him for doing that. But, like, I understand maybe the guy's body was broken, but he took the money and ran. But I feel terrible. Stupid to sleep with a gun on your pillow. And how does your son grab it? Loaded? You don't put the safety on? That's nuts. I feel terrible for him now, though. But that's terrible. Thanks for the name. So there are huge. This league right now is not so much about the elite quarterback. It's about being philosophically sound, physically tough, being able to play the boa constrictor type game. You don't see the shootouts like you used to. And that is good news for us. Maybe Moss turns out to be a 9 or a 10. But in the current phase, even if he's a 7 or 8, or Monkey, who likes you, as I don't want to get cut off over here, it's a 7 or 8, you can have enough success not to be cellar dwellers. So, Curtis, I feel this team is going to be a little under the radar to start the season, but I have high hopes. The entire staff have plenty of experience to rise to the next level. Roster depth is my concern. There's definitely a few key issues. To me, Juju Brents is one of them. If Juju Brents stays healthy, this defense is different. It's different. Watch the guy play. He's tremendous, but can he stay healthy? I don't know. He goes down, and you got this domino effect. Although I love Duck. Storm Duck still got the best name in history. But he's going to be much better in zone coverage. A lot of times he got beat. They were asking him, it was like a mixed match coverage. I think it was it was a zone with a bump, and then he had expected to cover man high, and he had a couple of those. But if you put him in a strict zone coverage and you understand what he's good at, he might be able to be palatable enough. But Juju Brents changes this thing. Juju Brents, he just came off of it, they said. I read today, I think. I don't know. I got ADD. But I thought it said he came off of it today. But maybe. I'll go check. Storm Duck. I love that name. But he's big enough to tackle. He's physical. Storm Duck off PUP. Let's see. They're on active PUP. So unfortunate. They're on active PUP. So I guess it will be some time. Yeah, I guess you're right. I saw off PUP, but it was off active. There's that whole parsing of the words things. Thanks, Monkey. But, Marshall, I like him better. But, I don't want to see Johnson at boundary cornerback. Who's playing the nickel? That gets a little curious. A lot of it falls on Juju. Oh man, my wife decided to make an apple pie tonight, man. She's making it now and distracting me. I can't wait. I can't wait to eat that thing. But yeah, cornerback's one of those dominoes, and Juju Brents is the highest on. He's the highest on the list. If he plays and stays healthy, this defense will be different. If he gets injured, it will be different. The right side of the offensive line, or any of the linemen, really is a little bit of a concern. Ducky needs to find a nice UFO. You don't like him? I think he can play. I think he can play his zone. I watched him. He tackles. He's big. He can be physical. He just doesn't have that kick in man coverage, and he got burned in man responsibilities. But the right side of the line concerns me. Concerns me if Washington goes down. Obviously, Aqua Golf, man. How am I doing, guys, man? Big C just didn't show up, man. Where did Big C go? Big C. You gave me the big high O, man. Hope he's all right. Mask weaknesses, and that's where QB experiences have to be the ones to beat us. Malik putting 20 points equals a lot of wins. Yeah, you can't ask Malik to be that kind of guy. For me, he's just got to be consistent get the ball out to where, because we scheme up a lot of throws. If you watch the Packers, they scheme up a lot of throws. Hit the outlet guy and occasionally make that big throw. Occasionally you run around, maybe pick up a big play with the pass. Maybe you scramble for a few big plays. But this team's got to be built around running that football and play action. And he just got to be a guy who can hit those deep outs, hit that over, buy some time in a pocket. And the very least, I know that Monkey loves Ewers, and I think Ewers could be fine here. I think he would be fine in this one. But Willis's ability to force a spy on some plays, to force the back coverage on a run left or play action left, to hold his position and to threaten that with his feet and arm, I think is different than Ewers. Now, Ewers might be more consistent. He might read better, more accurate, and that's obviously the most important thing. But Willis brings a lot to the table just in his skill set. Nah, dude, I'm flying over here with no script, man. So I'll take all the help I can get, man. Message away, brother. I don't even know if anyone's listening to this thing, man. Anyway, so yeah, there's some depth issues, but if you look, we'll go at the quarterback position, Ewers and Willis. Last year we had Ewers, but he was a rookie. Tua wasn't really playing well. I think this year we have depth at quarterback. We have depth at running back. Achane's a guy who can't go down. Everything goes to the toilet bowl if Achane goes down. He's got to stay healthy, and I hope they utilize him properly in the pass game. Yo, somebody else here. Balak, I like that. I'm Celtic, man. I'm Nordic. I like that. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Big C will be here next time. I'm going to find out what happened to Big C. You just won't have to wait long. I know you're not a Willis fan. And I'm real quick like that, man. I just figured that one out. But how have you sliced it? Even if it's like Ewers starts, let's say, and Willis is the backup, that's a better situation we've had in years. Think of the backups we've had here. So I think the quarterback stacked. I think the running back group stacked. The receiving group has got a lower end level. Coleman, the rookie thing scares me. It's very hard for rookie receivers to come through. And you got Bell coming off injury. You got Douglas. You got Coleman. Thankfully, Tolbert, I think I forgot who was a smart guy I saw. I can't remember his name. Not my idea. But Tolbert might play a bigger part because he is a veteran. And then you got Washington brothers. So there is a level of depth. But we're not winning this through receivers. It's not going to work that way. We're not there yet. It's going to be a running team, but it's more importantly, it's a play action team. You go look at the play action game, it produced more yards per catch than a straight throw by like a yard. Like I said, I went through straight passing, and it wasn't really an indicator. Podcast coming out, I guess I'll lay it out, but there's 11 teams last year that were top 20, not top 5, not top 10, top 20 in rush attempts, second down EPA, and run defense. Of those 11 teams, 9 made the postseason and 2 were 8-8. Not a single team that was able to deliver on that production in those 3 categories had less than 8 wins. Now, there's things that feed all of those. But the good news is that your play action game is fed off by your rushing attempts. So those 2 categories kind of feed each other. And this offensive line, I think, depending on what Savania does, I love Salyer. I think Salyer is a better depth player than we've had here in a long, long time. I think the guy could play. Go back and look at his rookie season with the Chargers at left tackle. It was excellent. But then they drafted Slater. They couldn't resist it. And then they began moving him around. I'm not saying he's great, but I think that guy can fill in anybody's position and not wet the bed too much, especially in the scheme that we're running. So on offense, I do think that there is some high point depth concerns But I think there's more depth here than, especially on the offensive line, because I like Heck. I like Charlie Heck too. I think Charlie Heck's as good as Jackson. I think he's a little bit better than Jackson in some areas. I don't want him starting, but Charlie Heck, DJ Campbell, who I think can develop, and Salyer, that I think that is some of the best depth, along with Paul in his second year. I think Proctor's going to be a good. I think he's going to be an above average guard with good to very good drive blocking, run blocking abilities. Brewer's Brewer. He does struggle with power, but guy's a great leader. He mans the middle very well, and he can get to the second level like nobody's business. That right side is a little concerned, but Salyer can fit into that, into either the right tackle or the right guard. If Jonas Savaiinaea can play average, and if Jackson doesn't cut it, Salyer can fit in there, and we'll have the best offensive line likely, along with Kasmara, because you got to tie the tight ends into it, than we've seen in a long, long time. So that's the offense. And the philosophy of running the football, when you run the football, it's sometimes it's hard for people to understand, but Gailey understood it the best. When he was here that 1 year, he ran the football consistently, although he wasn't successful, but that allowed him to put himself in position to take advantage in the passing game when the setting was right. And then it forced respect from the defense, but it kept our defense on the sidelines. And so just the fact that we're committed to the run inside and outside, inside zone, outside zone, gap, all of that, it's going to create a lot for defense to prepare for. And it's going to help us in that second down play action. It's going to help us with not pinning our ears against the quarterback. It's going to help us moving the clock along, but it's going to keep the defense fresh, which is going to need it. And thank you guys for the comments, man. You're helping me out. Dolphins offensive line is the fourth biggest in the league. I didn't know that. They had the two biggest OTs, Bowles 6'7", Patrick and Proctor combined 6'80". Yeah, that left side, I went through it and I couldn't find anybody on that left side that was bigger, like a combo. And it's not, big is one thing. You got guys like Becton who are big, but they can't move. The thing with Proctor, he's 6'7", just about. He's like 6'6" 3/4. It's hard unless you really like to study run blocking. Most guys, they lay into you and they're coming down if they're that tall. They're not coming up because they can't get low enough. And if you watch Proctor, he gets so low. And the thing they always teach you is to scoop and rise. So when you're coming at a guy, you don't want to go like this. You want to come up like you're scooping some ice cream. You want to get into and lift his pads. You lift him up, because once you lift him up, then he loses his leverage. And Proctor is able to do that. And that technique and the speed and the insane strength. I went over the numbers in one of my podcasts. He's stronger than some of the best players. Onwenu, he's way stronger than Onwenu. He's slightly stronger than, can't remember, the left guard, Nelson, and the Colts. This guy's a freak. Now, he's a boy, he's young, but his strength and size and technique in the run game, we got to see the pass game, pass protection, is going to be special. And you add that size with Paul, who's really great at coming down. If you guys in front of him, sometimes he struggles because if you notice, his hips don't drop. Proctor's got way better drop, way better flexibility, hip flexors than Paul. Paul still plays a little high, but if he gets on a guy on a slant or a drive or a crash, he destroys him. But next time I'll be more prepared. But I want to do a run study on what Proctor does as far as the techniques of the defensive players and how that sets a domino effect of concern when you tie it to Achane. So I know I'm probably going off over here, but what the hell are you going to do now? No big C. So think about your defense. if you go back and watch the games, the way the defenses played us, they played wide. They played deep. The linebackers, backers played read and react. That was all to stop Achane getting to the outside. They didn't fear the interior drive and push of the offensive line. And they wanted to hedge that big run by Achane. But if they do that now with Proctor and then Paul and then ultimately Kazmarek, that is going to leave them overexposed for the counter, for the comeback on the outside, or the straight inside run. And so I'm going to break that down next time when I get some film for you and a little bit more not disjointed. So there's a lot of things when I go through this, and it's not to say that we're going to win 10, 12 games or something, but the goal is not to win 1-4. And so I think I can keep going on. I got off track over here. Your comment about depth, defense. All right. So ask yourself this. I'm going to get back to the other offensive thing. How much worse are we than last year? I mean, really ask yourself, how much worse are we than last year? The defense, Chubb was pretty decent. You're still here, man. Shadowfax, you're still here. All right, man. Yeah. It's the ADD, man. I'm like a moth to a flame. Big C, man. Oh, he's a great guy, man. I don't know what happened. I hope he's all right. Maybe I don't think I screwed it up. Maybe I screwed it up somehow, but I don't think so. I hope he's all right. Chubb was okay last year. He's okay. He's gone. We lost Minka. That does hurt, but it certainly didn't change things. We sucked on defense. And so what do we really lose? We went from a scheme that didn't fit us. We ran 2 gap and 1 gap. Now we're really 1 gap, probably a little 2 gap technique in there. So you're going to allow guys like Grant to be his best. He's not strong enough to hold up. You just want him shooting. Phillips will probably play a little 2 gap, maybe control on the inside and shoot. But he's gotten leaner, so he can shoot too. Chubb, if you want anything out of him, he's going to shoot. You got Uche. I like Uche a ton. There's the other guy we got. I always forget his name. He's another vet. I think that guy can play. It was a whole thing with Hafley talking to him. So to me, Uche and the other dude, who I should remember his name, and Llewellyn and the other kid we drafted in the 5th round, that's a lot of guys to fill in with the scheme that is more conducive. You got Biggers in his 2nd year. He dropped weight. He's going to probably see a little 3 technique. Phillips looks ridiculous. Phillips was my favorite draft pick of that season of last year. Last year. And he's going to be a beast. You're going to get Grant in the right place. And then Sealer will be able to play that 3 and 5. So I think the front is going to be better than people because you're going to have guys. Sealer's good at shooting. That's where he's at his best. Grant's best at shooting. Chubb, best at shooting. Uche, best at shooting. 1 gap. Attack and cause chaos. And then the 1 gap works in the middle with the linebackers. Brooks can play, but he's not attack, stack, and shed. That's not what he does. He's just not really, there's not a lot of guys that can do that anymore. He's better in the 1 gap. Rodriguez is better in the 1 gap. And Dotson is too, but all 3 are better in zone coverage, which is going to be the high deal with what we're doing here. And so that whole front, I think, is going to be better than last year. It's going to be in a more conducive environment. And I think you're going to see growth in some of the rookies. The rookie blues will be a little mostly off. So I think the front's going to, but we didn't have a great defense, but I think we could be more productive. Who do we have at cornerback last year? Nobody. We had nothing. Maybe Juju Brent stays healthy. Maybe he doesn't. Marshall's not going to be asked to play man and nickel, which he can't. He's going to play boundary. He's going to play zone. You got Johnson, and then you got Lewis. Kyle Lewis, I think, can play. He might come out in a little bit of a spot rolls here or there, is that safety, that money man safety. But when you're in a zone, you got two cover high guys. Their job mostly is just control the deep, respect your depth, respect the drop, stay on top of things. Don't get behind. I'm a little concerned about Trader getting beat. Sometimes you have to go man when they have like a man match coverage and stuff like that. We got to see with that, but it's easier to play that safety in the zone when you're playing over. If you're smart, and we got smart guys, it's easier to play cornerback when you're jamming a guy and you drop into the zone than if you're jamming a guy or just playing man. But it's that middle of the defense that is so critical, especially with the things I've talked about, the play action on second down. Go to the Colts game last year. We got liquefied. We were man. Dotson forgot what to do. We didn't know what he was doing. Brooks got a little beat up a couple of times because he was in man, not so much in zone. There's a lot of confusion. Rodriguez is not playing that. I don't know what he's going to be, but that guy's got an elite brain. I've done coverage on Brooks and Dotson in the zone. When they have high zone, they play very well. And then you got Kyle Lewis. And then I think the wild card that people aren't maybe factoring in because he had high expectations, but Weaver couldn't figure it out, is Gay Jr. Go watch what Hafley does on defense, how he utilizes that kind of guy. He's 250-something. He can set the edge, he could blitz, and he can drop when you're in a zone and you set a particular kind of drop. Come inside. They can morph this front and that middle because Hafley's creative. Again, I'm not saying elite, but if the core of the game of football, as I see it, and I think the stats, the numbers, and the big thinkers are saying, run the football. If we can control that on first down, we can control the play action. We've got the pieces. There's going to be a little bit of rookie blues and stuff, but Brooks is going to hold it together. Dotson can hold it together. I think Rodriguez will play way above a normal rookie. And then Kyle Lewis as the flex guy. And then Gay lurking, doing all kinds of different things. If you could control those two pieces of the puzzle on offense, you're going to get these herky-jerky offenses that are not going to blow you out. As long as the top and the sides are, not losing their minds and going full retard. And so I think the linebacking group is got some good depth. The front, the edges got good depth. The Gay lurking Gay, man. That was a good one. You got me. So yeah, I think when I got a lot of, not time on my hands, but I got time on my hands to just sit there and think about this stuff when I'm supposedly sleeping. And you go through it and you match it up with what you're seeing across the league. I do think this team is far more likely not to be 1 to 4 wins than it's to be like, say, 5, 6, or 7, maybe 8. I don't think more than that. That would be super insane. But all those teams, and I did another podcast on that went 5 games or less, they all had good schedules. They were playing 500. Most of them were playing 500 teams. Postseason, now we're said to have 5.524 or 5.42 this year, but who knows? You got to wait for the season to end. This was postseason, and they sucked at running the football attempts. They sucked at blocking, especially protection on second down, and they sucked in second down EPA. And a lot of them struggled in run defense. And that's how they got there. So this Dolphins team, if we're disciplined and we don't, it's not all a mirage with, if 60% of these guys perform on some level, 1 to 4 is the outlier. Gay lurking. So Trade Dotson to Denver for Riley Moss. I don't know about Riley. I got to check him out. I don't know, Monkey. I think that's just like, I think it depends. So it's almost like the Flores thing. What does winning do for you? You can say that, well, you could get the good pick. It might be more important. But there is a thing to be said about the psyche of a football team and a player. The game of football is so based on confidence. And that confidence is not just about you. It's about your unit. It's about your team. It's about your staff. It's not quantifiable, but what's the value of not wetting the bed this season? I know that if you're playing Madden or you following ES, get that top 5 picks so we can get the quarterback. 60% of those guys flop. Flores has got to really, say what you want about him, but he doesn't have a lot of talent in Minnesota. But he's got those guys believing. He schemed them up to have success. He had this team believing until some craziness happened. I believe that you've got to set the psyche of this team, the confidence of this franchise for the fans and for the players and for everybody involved. Keep Dotson. You never know when injury goes down. It could be short term or whatever. It's going to be important to have that middle unit fleshed out. And Dotson can contribute. He's kind of struggled. Came in like a gangbusters the first year we had him, and he kind of wet the bed and rolled it a little bit last year. But I don't blame that all on him. His skill set's more suited to some other things. So I don't know. I'm not telling you that to not do it or do it. I don't know. I just think that we've got to get wins this year and have 5 or 6 wins. Greatest cap, dead cap in the history of the game. All these rookies. You get 5 or 6 wins. We had 7 wins last year with all the guys we had. And I think ultimately we played a 482 strength of schedule. So it was sort of tough, but not really tough. And we only got 7 wins. So I don't know. I want the wins. I want this regime to make it. I think that you can find guys, they got Knicks, 15 or whatever it was. Giants got that other kid working with him. They found him in. You don't need the top 5 pick. It's not, it's not always what's cracked up to be. Dotson needs to make space for, you're big, Jackson. I know you love Wood. I don't know. You know him better than me. If Wood is that as good as Dotson, then okay. I just like the experience. I like the experience. I like what he's done in zone coverage, in this kind of defense, and I think he can play a big piece. So, I don't know. So, that's it, guys. I'm going to come back tomorrow night with Bob, supposedly. Fingers crossed now, right? Bobby from Phins Talk is going to be on tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central. 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's on a thing. I don't know, somewhere around there. So come join me there if you want. I know it's Friday. I'm just trying to do this live stuff again. I love these comments. I just like this much better than doing the podcast stuff. And there's some other things too. I'll get into it later. I just really want to maximize this season with you guys. So I appreciate everything. I believe Coach Jeff is going to surprise the league this year. I believe the surrounding place. I do. But, the surprise, before I get into that, the surprise, I think, is just to overachieve. And overachieving for us is, about 6-7 wins. If you get 7 wins with all that you had last year, and you're going in with 62% of your rosters on dead cap, and you get close to 7 wins, that's mind-blowing. And then it's not on top of that. So if you lose games, but they're close, and you're like feeling like, wow, man, these guys are playing. And you know how many rookies there are and how the rookie blues are hitting. And next year these guys are going to be better and you're going to get another draft. And you're going to have, I think, with 3rd or 4th and free cap space next year. And you can overachieve. This fan base needs it. You know, I remember I grew up, you know, you probably don't notice, but I was a New Yorker, a Dolphin fan. And it was so cool because there's only a few of us, but we were like thick as thieves, man. It didn't matter. No matter what happened, we were all in. Yeah, Dolphins. Yeah. And it was such a great feeling for everybody to be, you know, the few of us, like the 5 of us that I know, that were together. And that's what I want from this fan base. This is what I want for this team. I'm so tired of dividing and arguing and the bickering. And I want us to be mostly unified. That's what makes the game great. It makes it fun. It's tiring arguing. It's tiring debating. It's tiring doing that stuff. We need it. We deserve it. And I want it. And I want this regime to be the regime that does it for us, to make it a good, great time again. So, I got grope the Pope, man. Gay the lurker and grope the Pope. Yeah, I think the scheme keeps us competitive. Yeah, because the scheme is set up for like a bend but don't break on both sides. It's pounded away, kind of keep it close. Some games you're probably going to get blown out because you can't catch up as much. But it's really about consistency. The game of football is not about pop. That's what Greer didn't understand. That's what McDaniel didn't understand. It's about grinding. It's about consistency. And that sets the floor. And that floor is where you build the palace. And so, yeah, we're probably going to get blown out a couple of games. It's going to be tough to catch up in some games, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But it's the majority of the games. It's the tenor of the season. It's how you feel about the broad-based approach and how you see these guys respond, how they play in bad weather, how they beat the hell out of somebody and maybe lose. But you know they beat the hell out of them. And if they get a little more talent, they're going to beat the hell out of them next year and win. That's what it's all about. So, yeah, the zone defense, there's a lot to talk about. I did some studies on what Hafley likes to do. He likes to call mixed match coverage, or call cover 3 on one side, cover 2, but then he blends it and flips it. It's very interesting what he does. And I think it's going to be but it's going to be maybe, unless we get great pressure, a defense that kind of, all right, here's your field goal. All right, here, we're going to slow it down and maybe a thing here, but it's not going to be kill 'em defense. And then on offense, it's probably going to be beat. Oh, big play. Oh, we screwed up. And, you know, it's going to be those type of things where you bring it in the middle, kind of like, you know, some like the Panthers did a little bit. But that's great for year one. And I think we need that. So, guys, I appreciate it. Sorry, Big C didn't make it. I'll see what happens. We'll try to get him back on again tomorrow night. Grope the Pope. Check out the link I put in the chat. Here's a good breakdown of scheme and how I will, man. Thank you, man. And there was a guy who was posting over here, man. He was Jimi Hendrix, man. He made me do my he didn't check in, man. He was the first guy commented on a thing. I did my whole intro based on Jimi Hendrix, and he wasn't here. I got stood up, man. I feel like the girl who got stood up at the prom. So anyway, I'm going to check that link out, man. I appreciate everything. Sorry if I miss you guys' comments. Check me out tomorrow. Got some other stuff. We're going to be working with Phins Faithful with George and Jason Sarney. I'm going to be building a bridge away from this to them. I'll deal with that. I'll talk to you guys about that later. But check me out there. I'm going to be writing articles. I'm going to be doing some stuff over there. Check them out anyway. They're great. So I appreciate everything you guys do. Showing up for the Curtis and being nice to me. So be well, guys. Curtis saying be well, go Phins. Curtis out.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to radio station EXP. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman who goes by the name of Mr. Paul Caruso on the dodgy subject of are there or are there not flying saucers, or UFOs. Please, Mr. Caruso, could you give us your regarded opinion on this nonsense about spaceships and even space people?
Thank you. As you all know, you just can't believe everything you see in here, can you? Now, if you will excuse me, I must be on my way.